Oh, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for assembling here so quickly this afternoon. I'm Doug Shepman with the Denver Police Media Relations Unit. Speaking today during this press conference first will be Matt Clark, who is the commander of the Denver Police Major Crimes Division. He'll speak to the chronology of events that occurred in Denver. John Romero, the Public Information Officer for the Lakewood Police Department, will then share updates regarding the incidents that occurred within Lakewood's jurisdiction. And Denver Chief of Police Paul Pazin will also speak today. With that, I'll turn it over to Commander Matt Clark of the Denver Police Major Crimes Division.
Good afternoon. My name is Matt Clark. Thank you for being here and giving us an opportunity today to provide an update on the series of incidents that occurred yesterday. This is a preliminary briefing based upon information that we've obtained by interviewing witnesses, reviewing video evidence, and conducting forensic analysis at this point. Please know and understand that this is less than 24 hours into this investigation, so there is information that we're still working to obtain. There are still witnesses that are going to be interviewed as we move forward. With that being said, I'll describe the incidents that occurred in Denver. So on Monday evening, December 27th, 2021, 3 people were killed in Denver, and another victim was injured in shootings involving the same male. This male offender was later located and died in a police officer-involved shooting in the city of Lakewood. Now, no Denver police officers were involved in that incident in Lakewood. But I will provide the chronology of this kind of complex series of incidents that we had occurring. Yesterday at about 5:25 p.m., the Denver Police Department received a 911 call reporting a shooting that occurred at a business in the area of First Avenue and Broadway. The responding officers located 3 victims at that location. 2 adult females were found deceased inside the business. An adult male had been wounded by gunfire, had fled the business, and was located just south of the business on Broadway. That individual was transported to an area hospital. He remains in critical condition and is recovering. He is expected to survive from his injuries. At 5:31, the Denver Police Department received a report of a burglary in progress in the 200 block of West 6th Avenue. That's in the area of 6th Avenue and Bannock. The report was that an individual, a male, was attempting to gain access to a residence and force entry to a door. The offender did gain access to the residence. He pursued the occupants through the residence, which is also a part of a business. It's a dual-purpose building there. Gunshots were fired by the offender at the occupants. No injuries were sustained at that location. In the alley behind that residence business, there was a van that was set on fire, and at this point it appears that the offender was responsible for starting that fire, and we're working to determine the source and the ignition and how that came to be. At about 5:45, the Denver Police Department received a report of a shooting that occurred at a residence in the 1200 block of Williams Street near Cheeseman Park. In that incident, an adult male victim was shot and killed just inside of his residence there. The offender fled the location at that point. Investigators, the responding patrol officers, were able to develop preliminary information on the offender's vehicle. That information was put out both to the Denver officers and then officers in the metro area to be on the lookout for. At about 5:49, so about 4 minutes later, in the area of 13th and Zuni, Denver police officers driving an unmarked vehicle located the vehicle that matched the suspect vehicle. And that vehicle was described as a black, early 2000s model Ford Econoline van. The officers initiated a vehicle pursuit as the offender did not yield to their attempts to stop him. They pursued him southbound on Zuni. He continued through 8th Avenue at Zuni, where it dead ends, and became stopped. The officers stopped their vehicle, and the offender turned around and began firing at the officers. There was an exchange of gunfire involving 1 Denver police officer and the offender at that location. The officer who was involved was not injured in that incident. The gunfire from the suspect appears to have disabled the police officer's vehicle, and they were not able to continue pursuing him as he drove past them and exited. So they remained at that location. The offender got onto I-25 at that point and continued, we believe, based on our timeline, into Lakewood, where he continued his violent series of crimes. The Denver Police Department continues to actively investigate these incidents. Again, we're in the preliminary stages. We're working very closely with the Lakewood Police Department and our federal partners in this as well. Per our protocol in Denver, the identities of the victims will be released by the Denver Office of the Medical Examiner. And I would encourage anyone who has information about these incidents, any witnesses that we haven't spoken to, anybody who has video or other relevant information, to please contact Denver Metro Crime Stoppers and pass that information along. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Romero. I'm the Public Information Officer here at the Lakewood Police Department. Just want to give you an update. Since last night, we'll pick up from where Denver left off. Just before 6 o'clock at approximately 5:58, Lakewood Police received a call of shots fired at the Lucky 13 Tattoo Parlor at 1550 Kipling Street here in Lakewood. We got a report of one male getting out of a similar van to the one that was described. The male then went inside, shot another adult male. That adult male was pronounced dead at the scene. He has since been identified as 38-year-old Danny Schofield from Lucky 13 Tattoo. Just minutes later, at approximately 6:04 p.m., our agents were able to identify that van near the Wells Fargo Bank in the Belmar shopping area. When Lakewood police agents attempted to contact the driver of that van, that driver did open fire on our police agents. Our agents returned fire, but the driver was able to escape. 6 minutes later, at 6:10 p.m., at the Hyatt House, also in the Belmar shopping area, the suspect was seen walking into the Hyatt House, had a very brief conversation with the front desk worker. He then shot the front desk worker several times. She was also later pronounced dead at the hospital. She has now been identified as 28-year-old Sarah Steck. About a minute and a half later, the suspect continued on foot through the Belmar shopping area to an area near Alaska and Vance, which is where he came up against another one of our Lakewood police agents. Our Lakewood police agent ordered the suspect to drop his weapon. The suspect then moved in on our agent and opened fire on her, striking her once. That agent, courageously, after being shot, was able to somehow compose herself and return fire on the suspect, striking him, and eventually he was also pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect in this case has been identified as 47-year-old Lyndon James McLeod, date of birth 1/7/74. Again, I can't overemphasize enough the heroic actions of our Lakewood police agent. In the face of being shot, in the face of danger, she was able to not only save others from this terrible tragedy, but also neutralize the threat. And I can't say enough about the courage and bravery shown by that Lakewood police agent. We're not going to release her identity just yet. We're waiting for family to arrive here in Colorado so that they can be with her. I can tell you that she is a 3-year veteran of the Lakewood Police Department. She has been through surgery in a local hospital. Right now, she is listed as in stable condition. She will need more surgeries, but she is in stable condition and doing well. Right now, we just want to extend our love, our prayers, our thoughts, not only to our agent and her family, but to the families and the victims of everyone involved in these tragic incidents, both in Denver and in Lakewood.